Yo, sir, it's your boy, Best Worst X, and today we have.
Izzy Reynard.
Alright, so what's going on, man? And we're gonna start right there with your name. Like your actual name?
Nah, that's not my actual name. Izzy Reynard is a stage name. Izzy's my short name. I've gone through that my whole life. That was my name. And Reynard is fox in French. And when I was a kid, I always liked foxes. Even now, I like foxes. I got a big fox tattoo on my arm. So when I was trying to find a rap name, I was like, what would sound cool? And I was like, thinking of things I like. And I was like, I like foxes. And then so I started looking up fox in different languages. And I saw Reynard and I was like, that sounds pretty cool. So it's like Izzy Reynard. And I just always wanted to have a rap name where people would be like, you know, maybe I went to high school for like, yo, did y'all hear Izzy's rap? They'd be like, that nigga Izzy? And they're like, yeah, that nigga Izzy. So it's like, if you pick a rap name, if your rap name is like something like Onyx, and you start rapping, people ain't gonna know who you are until they see you. Right. I wanted to have something where people could know who I was before they even heard the music. So yeah.
Okay. And you're an artist.
Yeah. I like to call myself more a creator, but yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because I like to create. I don't just like just doing music. I like to create content. So it's like I work on short films. I work on music. I used to do a podcast. I just like to create content that's entertaining for people. So maybe like creator or entertainer. Okay. But artist, I think more people who like are artistic. And I don't think of myself as someone who's talented or artistic. Everything I've done, I've learned to do. I wasn't born with natural talents. Even rapping, like I had to learn how to do that.
Oh, so what do you think is what do you think is better in the long run, talent or hard work?
Hard work. So like I break it down into three categories. There's talented people, there's artistic people, and there's creative people. Talented people, that's just born. Like you're born with that. Talent show. People get up there and they show their talents. America's Got Talent. You know, people can sing. That's natural. Then there's people who are artistic. They could take their talents and they can make art with it. Creatives, they might not have those things. They might not have the natural born talent. But they have these intangibles. It's their mind basically. Their mind is what they use to get their product out there into the world. And I usually think that the creatives last longer. Like, you know, okay. The Kanyes of the world and the Steve Jobs of the world. They have ideas and they just need to find the ways to like breed them. The talented people, a lot of times they just gotta wait till there's something behind them, like a machine or something. It's like, she's huge, she's famous, but like Beyonce, that's a talented person. Right. The reason why she's been able to sustain this is because she put the right people around her. But if she didn't have those right people around her, Beyonce might not have been famous for this long.
I mean, that's it's all really on the team.
Right.
Right. Okay. So let's go on to your influences and like what inspired you to actually go down the music route.
So I would say probably there's three big musical influences in the beginning. Eminem, Hove, and 50. I mean, that was like just when I was young, and those were like the three of the biggest artists. And being a minority, going to, you know, living in urban environments, you see on TV people who look like you doing awesome things. And so that's why I gravitated toward that. It's better now than it was then, but there wasn't too many black faces in Hollywood that I could look up to except for like Denzel Washington and Will Smith. You know, so yeah. Rap and sports, but I wasn't athletic, and at the time I was really freaking tiny. So rap was just so cool to me, and I thought like the ability to take words, bend them, make them rhyme, tell a story, I thought that was the coolest shit ever. You know, and I'm over here watching Big Pimp and Jay-Z on a yacht, women in bikinis and shit. I'm like, I want to be that one day. And then Eminem was just so cool to me because I was like, as a kid, I'm like, he's making songs that like are funny as shit, These videos are fucking hilarious, but in the next second, he's kind of almost like scaring me. You know, I just thought his range was incredible, and to be a white boy in that medium and be that nice. And then 50 at the time was just like, I try to like tell young kids like what Drake is now, that's what 50 was. Like, he was fucking huge. So it's like everybody loved 50. So yeah, I don't know. I thought like taking words and rhyming them and bending, like I thought that shit was fucking great.
Okay.
You know, it spoke to me.
And how long did have you been making music?
Seriously, for a year, but I've always kept a pen in my hand and a paper around, and probably since I was 12 years old, you know, so over a decade I could say I've been rapping, but making music only a year. I really wanted to start taking it serious a year ago.
Okay.
And I put out one single and I was like, I don't know how to feel about it, and you know, I was like, let me just put this out, see what people think. And then people were kind of lukewarm to it, and so I felt like some people would be like, okay, I'm not gonna do this then. But it actually made me like, I felt I could do better than that. So then I went back and I did another song, and people were like, oh, that shit's actually hot. Then I did another song, and I was like, let me put a project together. So I put a project. It was well received by, you know, my friends. Right. And at that time, that's all the validation I needed to continue. And then, so like November of last year, I put out my first project. And in that time, I put out 4 projects since. So I've been like working.
Grind mode.
Yeah, because it's like now it's just like I'm at the level like where I have to do that, but also it's fun now.
Okay.
And I like enjoy it. Like that's a hobby for me.
So you said 4 projects in a year?
Yeah. Well, I'm like technically 3, but I'm working on my 4th, and by the time it comes out, it will be before 365 days when my last project came out.
Okay.
So yeah.
So if you had an estimated time on when that project, mystery project, would be coming out.
Okay, so it's interesting. It's something I always try to think of what has never been done before, right. Not just around me, but in general. And so I came up with this idea. So the last project I put out was called The Reset of Reynard, because the project before that I put out was a very heavy album. It kind of dealt with like depression and whatnot, stuff that I was struggling with. It was kind of like my pandemic album. And so it was themed. It took a lot out of me. I put together like a showcase for it. Like I put this show together. I had other artists on there. I spent like $500 to put this show together. And so this project took a lot out of me. It was called Misery Loves Company. And so after I was done with that, I was like, okay, I felt like I needed to put that album out for me, as a person, to get this off my chest. So I was like, what do I do next? And I was like, I need to like reset. So I thought of reset, the word. I thought of like video games, resetting. And so I put out a project called The Reset of Reynard, where it had like video game vibes on it, like old school video games like Super Nintendo. So I put that out. I wrote, produced, recorded, edited, all in 1 week. I had a week off of work and I did that all in 1 week. It started with one song, then it just kept going. I put it out, and then I was like, okay, I kind of want to like. So then let me step back real quick. Are you a fan of like the Marvel movies?
Before Avengers 2.
Okay. All right, but
because after Endgames it just
okay. So you know how the Marvel movies are released in phases,
right?
They have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Now they're in phase 4. I was like, I should start doing my music that way. Okay. So artistically, I'm going to approach that. So now, I thought I'm in the reset. This is phase 0. It's before phase 1. When you make movies, you don't get to see the production side of it. They had a phase 0 before Iron Man 1 came out. We just don't see that. But with music, you get to see more of the ramp up. Movies are supposed to be polished when they're released. They cost millions of dollars. Albums don't. Music don't. So you get to see the rise of a musician. We've especially in this day and age, I heard J. Cole before he was signed to Jay-Z. Like, we get to see that, which is awesome. So I was like, I'm in phase 0. This is the reset. So I wanted everything in this phase to kind of be based on something. So I had the reset of Reynard. So I was like, I want to put out a project that releases between one date to another date. So the project I'm currently working on is actually releasing in 8 parts. 8 songs, and every week you're going to get a new song.
Okay.
And it's called Split Screen. Back to the video game motif. You know, when you play Call of Duty, top and bottom, split screen. And the thing about this, because I've actually seen albums released in parts, so that's not the part that's like never been done before. Every song is a collaboration with another artist. That's why it's called Split Screen. So
that's cool. That's dope.
So the first song that I'm working on that will actually release on October 12th. I don't know when this interview will come out, but October 12th, which is a Wednesday. It's called Player One. And some guy sent me a beat, and he's like, yo, I want you to write this song over this beat. And so I just wrote a song called Player One because it kind of sounded like a dedication beat, like something you would dedicate to your mom or something you would dedicate to like your homies. And I was like, nah, you know, I'm going to dedicate this song to myself. So I rap it in the second person, talking about everything I've accomplished over the last year. And that's why it's called Player One, because it's me. I'm plugging in. So that's the project so between...
Yo, that is dope. That's actually dope. And I listened to your 8-bit freestyle.
Yeah.
I fuck with that.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's going to release between October 12th and I believe November 30th. So 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, split screen.
All right. So we got something to look out for.
Yeah.
And so you're a creative. You're
I like to think of myself as one. I don't like putting I like people to call me things, but I like to think of myself as one.
All right. So, what about like filmmaking? Where did that come in?
So, I always had a fascination with movies. My mom, like, we didn't have much, so my mom would take us to the library, and you could rent movies there back in the day. I don't know if you could do that now, but so we would go there, pick movies out, and we would watch stuff from like way before our time, from her childhood, because that's what they had at the library. They didn't have new shit. So we would watch stuff that like kids at school would never even heard of, and I would go to school like, y'all ever see this? They'd be like, oh, we never heard of that, bro. So I always had a fascination with movies, and then like movie stars larger than life, like, you know, like Jim Carrey and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was like, yo, that's cool. But then I have a homie who he went to film school for Penn State. His name is Colin. We call him Boo Boo, but he went to Penn State for 5 years, like, you know, big prestigious school. And I went to the movies with him one time. He was like, you're watching movies, but I'm gonna teach you how to watch film. And so we would go to movies, and afterwards me and him would go to the diner, and he would be like, yo, you remember that one part in the movie where they did that? And I was like, yeah. He's like, this is how they shot it. And he would like open my eyes to that, and he would tell me about lighting and editing, and like this right here, right? Me and you talking.
Mm-hmm.
You have a movie where 2 characters are talking, and the camera will be pointing towards you, and then when the other person talks, the camera will be pointing towards me, and you're like, hold up, how come I don't see a camera? And he's like, those are 2 different scenes. So when you see that actor, that is a different scene shot from when you're seeing that actor, and that shit just blew my mind. It's like stuff that's like, hold up, that makes sense. Why didn't I ever think of that before? But you don't think about that. So he just opened my eyes to it. So like, yeah, that's where like the film stuff came in, and it like every song I've ever written, I envision a music video for. And if I can't envision a music video for it, then I scrap the song, because I'm like, I need someone else to be able to visualize when they hear my music. So if I write something I'm not visualizing, then I throw it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So like the cinematic part of it ties in my music with, you know, and all my albums have themes even if they're not following a story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if people were to compare your music to another artist, or like three to 4 artists, like who could you throw in that?
So I think they would definitely. I've definitely got M, but he's like my biggest musical influence, so it makes sense. And it's mostly the rhyme style. Like I try to rhyme as many words as possible, and I actually had to like recently calm down on that, because I realized that, you know, you could say something that rhymes really well, but are you actually impacting the listener? You know?
Right.
So I used to like pride myself on how well I could rhyme 6 syllables. And I would practice. I'd be at work, sweeping the floor, look at something, and then I'll rap it, you know? So definitely M. When I was really young, I used to like do a lot of the emotional shit before Drake was even out. And then when Drake came out, I was like, man, this guy like really gets it. So I would definitely say Drake, and I love the lush sounds that he raps over. Like I like his beats a lot. It's hard to find those for me at my level, but I love Drake beats, and I also like how he like talks to the listener sometimes. Like some of his raps, they're not even raps, they're conversations, and you're just listening to him talk to you. You know, songs like Champagne Poetry or Lemon Pepper Freestyle. Those songs is like he's talking to you. It's not really a rap. And then I would say like in tandem Kanye and Jay-Z. I always looked up to Jay-Z as like the mogul and just like how slick he would say things. And I want to say things as cool as Jay-Z does. But then Kanye, in terms of like he's always trying to create, and it's not just about the raps that you hear, it's about the music, and it's the whole package. The music, the raps on it, how you rap it, you know, stuff like that. So I would say I'd have to pick those 4.
Okay. Cool. And we're gonna get back to that Drake, that thing. But
Okay.
Pause. And we back. So yeah, you said like something about how you're not on the level with your beats.
Like Drake?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't have access to not just Drake, but industry beats in general. There's a difference between what 40 and Mike Will Made It is producing and the access that I have, you know, YouTube and internet beats.
I mean, but on YouTube you can find some decent beats.
You can. You gotta really be searching for hours and hours. I think the biggest thing for me is the beats aren't sequenced.
Okay.
So you go and they put down, they'll have 2 parts to the beat, the chorus part and the verse part.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if I'm rapping on this beat and I start rapping on a even tone, and then I start ramping it up, the beats that I have, they're not gonna have that. And that, I think a lot of times is maybe that those producers are not capable of that. But you got to work in the studio to tell them, yo, when I start ramping it up, put some violins in there, like, you know, to make it sound mad dramatic. And you don't have that opportunity, unfortunately, sometimes when you're at the level that I'm at right now.
Okay.
You know,
so
but I will say, like, there are instances, like, you know, before we started this, you told me you had listened to this song, 8-Bit Freestyle.
Yeah.
Whomever produced that really chopped it up. And it was kind of cool because it forced me to write differently, because there was like beat switches and all that, so I wrote to the beat switches. It's not like I rapped over the beat, then I sent it to this producer, and then he sent it back, and I said, yo, can you do those beat switches right there? So when they're already like that, it creates a challenge that I actually like, because it's like I can't just rap at one tone, because this dude, he didn't make that possible.
Do you like writing?
I love writing. I love writing in general.
Okay.
I write all day long. Like, I always have a pen and pad near me. In my car, there's pen and pad.
You don't do the phone?
I do both.
Okay.
So I do pen and pad first, and then I translate it to my phone, because when I'm recording, it looks cleaner on the phone.
Right.
Whereas on my pen and pad, you know, I like writing to beat and off beat. So when I write off beat, sometimes when I go to the beat, I have to add words or take away words. So I have to scribble them out, pencil them in, and whatever. So the pen and pad, it looks messy, but it's also beautiful, because it's like those are my organic thoughts.
Right.
On the phone, it's just those are just the words. So I do both.
Okay. What is your process like?
Every time I go forward, beats first, listen to beats, Well, theme first. Then I listen to beats, what I'm looking for. So it's like I want to write a song about my ex. So then I go look for songs, beats. I'm sorry, beats that sound sad or whatever, or whatever mood I'm feeling. So theme first, beats, and I just throw the beats on and I kind of freestyle, and I kind of see what direction I'm gonna take it vocally. And when I say freestyle, it's not even words. It could just be like na 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 na, like that. So I kind of be like, okay, that's the cadence I want to hit. And so after that, I start writing. And the writing process is just all over the place. The writing process could be, I'm in the shower, the beat's on. I think of something. I reach out, grab my phone, type that in real quick. I could be at work, and the beat plays in my head. And then I write it down, and then on my lunch break, I'll go in the car or whatever. So it's however I'm feeling it. Like, I feel like before, when I really started to take music seriously, I was like a robot with it. And I would just put the beat on, I would stay in the studio, and I would just write line after line after line after line after line. But now I just kind of like let myself feel it.
So what do you think had the better outcome?
Definitely feeling it, just like letting it be organic. And now I do put myself on a timeline, so I'm like, this song needs to be done by this week. So I break it down sometimes. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put 2 verses on here, 16 bars per verse. That's 32. There's 5 days in a week, so 6 plus 2 more bars. So I need to write at least 6 bars a day to be done by the end of the week. So I do plan it still, but before I used to be like, let me get 16 done in a day, and it almost felt like work.
Are you like a super organized person?
Very. Like, I have OCD.
Okay.
Like, super. Like, my crib is like, people who come in, they're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, do you live here? Like, okay. Like, you don't live here.
Do you think that benefits you and your music?
Yeah. To some extent, I do feel like I could be a little less OCD because I'm like a perfectionist, and every song I've ever released, I don't love. Like, I like what I put out, but I'm like, when I hear it back, people are like, oh, this is fire, and I'm like, you didn't hear that moment where I just messed up right there? Like, I kind of like went over the beat like a millisecond. I could hear it, but they can't.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because they're not OCD or because they're not like creating like I am, but I want to get to a level where I love all my music. But I've only been taking it serious for a year, and I got to tell myself like, yo, this is progress. But I do think long run it is a good thing to be that OCD with your music.
To care.
Yeah.
It really shows you care.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, you're good. Yeah.
But
you hit on nail on the head.
But what are some of like your most favorite songs that you've actually spent the time to actually work on?
So there's a song on my project Misery Loves Company called Sidewinder, and it's about me meeting a girl, when in reality the whole Misery Loves Company project is about, I always try to think like, if there's a theme, something I'm dealing with personally, if I go on a record and say, this morning I woke up and I ate an apple and I brushed my teeth and all, that's too personal. Mm-hmm. And people are going to be like, I can't relate, because that's so you. So I have to make it where other people can relate. So I was dealing with misery, and it was my own version of like, I felt miserable. Like, I felt like I hated my life, every aspect of it. But the weird thing about it was I was still being active. Where like when you're depressed, you kind of just want to go to your room, cry, whatever. I don't fucking know. I was still being active, but what I noticed was I was being so negative towards people. They didn't want to be around me no more, because they're like, yo, like, this nigga's being a buzzkill about everything. And that was just me hating my life and deflecting it on other people and wanting them to hate their lives too. So then I feel comfortable. And I was like, that's when I realized that I was miserable. Because the term misery loves company. As opposed to depression, you kind of just want to be alone. So I watched the movie Misery, the Stephen King novel adapted into the film. And it was about, for those who have never seen the movie, it's artist. Well, he's an author, and he's a very famous author, and he's on his way to deliver his last book in a book series that he has called Misery. It's about this woman, and there's a snowstorm that knocks him off the road, and he gets found by one of his biggest fans, and he has like really bad injuries, so he can't, walk. His like legs are literally broken, and it just so happens she's a nurse, so she's nursing him back to health, but she's crazy, and so she keeps him hostage there, and then she finds out in this book that he's gonna kill off this character that she loves, so she's like, you have to fix the book, and she like burns his copy and all that. In short, I kind of felt like that was my life. Like I felt like I was trapped in my own mechanism. So the place where that took place, it was a fictional town called Sidewinder. So I wrote this song called Sidewinder about me meeting this girl named Annie, and that's the name of the girl in the movie. Her name is Annie. So I talk about meeting her, and the beat is so fucking dope. That's one of those beats that I found on the internet, and I was like, oh shit, like it's got a hard ass like drum, like it bops, but the sample is so fucking eerie. And so that's probably my favorite song I ever wrote, because it's like storytelling, but I have some bars on there, like storytelling and bars, and like that's probably my favorite song I've ever written. There's also a song on that album called Sledgehammer. That's probably like the best song I ever made in terms of like a hit. Everybody loves that song. It's from my boy Perception. It's just like, it's a banger. And it's called Sledgehammer because also in the movie Misery, in order to keep him from walking, she breaks his legs with sledgehammers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's. I mean, the way your mind works is
Yeah,
different, bro.
It's layered. It's like a parfait.
Yeah. I gotta say, this is one of my most different ones yet. But I did check out a couple of your songs, and your beat selection is different, man.
Yeah.
It has a different vibe. I fuck with it. Where you freestyle at all?
Yeah, I used to be really good at freestyling. Nah, I'm ass. But that's because I started taking the creative approach.
Okay.
What I said about the talented.
Right.
Freestyling is a talent. Like, there's this guy on YouTube or Instagram, whatever social media platform. His name is Harry Mack. This guy can freestyle. Like, he asks people to throw words out there, and he can fucking include them into his rap on the spot. I think that now that I've gone more into being more worried about my songs being fitting into a vibe and all that, my freestyle ability has kind of like gone away. Like, if I practice on it, I'll probably get good at it again, but I'm not that good at freestyling.
Were your first couple songs freestyles, or do you punch in at all, or is it strictly you gotta write it first and then get it down?
So I kind of freestyle in terms of like I let the beat play and then I say something.
Okay.
Then I write it down.
Okay.
Then I let the beat play again. I freestyle. Then I write it down. Then once I have my verse, I go back. Okay, how does this line follow this line? How does this sound all together? And then I record. I don't punch in because my biggest thing is when I want to go to perform, I've done a couple performances, but when I want to perform on a regular level, if I'm punching in, I don't know how to rap those verses front to back because I've never done it. You hearing the verse front to back, but I've never actually physically done it. And people who punch in, I feel like they'll have that problem where they go to perform and they're like, I only know how to rap the song line by line, not front to back. So I don't like punching in.
Okay.
Although I don't take it away from anybody who does it. I know there's people who be like, if you punch in, you're not a real rapper. People have their own methods. Right. You know, like Jay-Z claims he's never written. I don't know, that's insane to me. You know, that's his method. I've also seen like Eminem's writing. It looks like he writes on like pieces of paper and it looks like numbers. Everybody has their own method and we should respect it.
Definitely. I'll only ask because everybody does have their own method. And
yeah.
I mean, I think a big part of that is the something about being dope, being an individual as a person that makes music. Now, if you were to say would you say you're an artist or a rapper? If you were to,
I would say outside of like the term that I said earlier, creative, I would say artistically I'm a rapper because I also don't want to front. I don't produce beats. I don't sing. I tried. Yeah, I'm a rapper. I rap. Hip hop artist, I guess you could say.
Okay.
But I rap. but then I create on the outside. But I wouldn't say I'm an artist because I don't know. I don't artistically do anything. If people describe my word as art, that's in the whole when they see it, when they stand back from it. But I never physically arted that, if that makes sense.
That does. That does. You said you did a couple short films and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You doing any skits or anything of that nature as well?
So the only I've made 3 short films, and 2 of them one was a minute long, one was 2 minutes long, and then one was like 10 minutes. And that was like, I would classify that one more as a short. But every single one of them was just to preview the content for the album that was going to come out. And so it kind of like, all 3 of them kind of established the start of the rollout for each project that I did. And for me, it's like a way to get people looking, but I also want people to be impressed. Like, that's cool. And I always make sure to let people know that it was me. So like at the end, you see the credits and it was like written, directed, produced, edited by me. You know, so I want people to be like, man, that guy's, you know, he's different. Like, you know, he's doing his own thing. Shout out to So True, who you've done an interview with. He said something on
shout out to So True
Facebook one time that really changed my perspective on something. He said, I don't want to be the best, I want to be different. And I was like, yo, that's cool. And after that, I thought about that. Like, I want to be different. I don't want to be the best. I want to be one of the best, but I don't have to be the best. Because also, it's all subjective. Like, there's people who think Jordan's the best, but there's also people who think LeBron's the best. There's people who think Kobe's the best. So, like, that's point of view.
Right.
You know, you can't definitively say someone is the best in anything, I don't think.
Not when it comes to like the arts and stuff, and you can't. I mean, even if you bring stats into it, it's still really subjective.
Yeah, and there's too many stats. There's like, you know, they'll be like, pull up LeBron stats to Jordan stats, but they played in different eras.
Right.
So how can you compare that? You can't compare that. You know, unless we can simulate it, where we drop the 2 individuals in the different timelines. That's it. We have to play Multiverse of Madness in order to find out, but you can't. So best is subjective. So I would like to be regarded as one of the best, but I don't need to be the best. That's also too much stress.
You got merch?
I'm working on it.
Is it gonna be a lot of foxes and stuff?
Yeah, it's gonna be like the calling card, like how Kanye had the teddy bear. The fox will probably be the forefront of it. I jokingly put up my album cover for the reset of Reynard, and I said I should put this on a tee, and then I actually got like a lot of responses. People like, I would buy that if you put that out. Y'all go look at my Instagram. It's just Izzy Reynard. I took Star Fox, the video game, and I made my own cover, kind of like a Super Nintendo game. I edited that by myself too. Every cover that I've done by myself as well. So merch is definitely coming. It says I like for people to feel like they're involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's your boy Best What's up? So, who are some people that you actually collaborated with in the past, and that you was like a memorable experience?
My biggest collaborator is my cousin Samuel. Unfortunately, he's the laziest person I know. He's a really good artist. He's a singer, and the cool thing about him is like he writes all his own songs. He comes up with his own melodies. He's really talented. He's just really lazy. But every project that I've released, he's on them. Like, I've been able to at least get him on every single project. He goes by Nell's son, but he's been on every single project I've had so far. My most frequent collaborator is my boy Perception. We have the one song Sledgehammer together on Misery Loves Company. He sung the intro on Reset from the Reset of Reynard. I actually wrote and sung that, but it didn't sound good. So I sent it to him. I was like, yo, sing what I sang, but make it sound good. So
he was able to deliver.
Yeah. His like, he loves Kanye and Travis Scott, so he's kind of like up that lane. So working with them, those are my guys though. Like I grew up with them, so it's different. I've never done like a true collaboration with someone yet, because I don't feel like that's collaborating. That's right. That's just us working. That's what we do. So I'm really looking forward to actually collaborating with other local artists. That'd be dope.
Okay, cool. And on that note, what do you got to shout out? And are you signed?
No, I'm just doing me right now.
Are you looking
so I'm trying to establish my own record label next year. So next year is gonna be the first phase. So I said I'd like do phases, and January 1st. I like being dramatic.
Okay.
I like being really dramatic. Like I like releasing projects around holidays and stuff like that. So like you feel connected to it. So I like being dramatic. In fact, I was like pissed when Misery Loves Company kept getting pushed back, and I ended up releasing it in June, and I was upset because it was like a winter record, and I wanted to release it in winter, but it was just too much shit going on. But January 1st, I'm going to start my first official phase, the rebirth of Reynard, and there's going to be basically me, everything that happened before that, it don't exist. It's retconned. Like you can look back at it, but it doesn't matter to me no more. Everything after that will be what matters. So there's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to be coming next year.
Okay.
After the split screen project, this is me just kind of like just keeping relevant. You know, when you're at this level, you can't be Kendrick Lamar and go away for 5 years when you're me. You have to constantly have your name out there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is me keeping relevant, also me keeping my skills tuned, because if you're not rapping on a constant level, you're gonna sound rusty. So I'm working on some stuff that I'm excited to reveal at the top of the new year. But like definitely want to establish my own record label so that it'd be a little more official. But the goal is to get signed major. Like I respect people who want to be local,
right,
and who want to be independent. I don't want that, because the things that I want to do with my life, they're really hard to do if you're independent. Like I want to make movies. I want to make video games. I want to create stuff. I want to collaborate with the NBA. Like I have ideas in my head that have been sitting there that I'm like, I almost feel like I can't say it out loud, because if I do, someone might see it on the internet, steal it, and then I'm fucked.
Right.
So I have movie ideas. I have TV show ideas. I have video game ideas. I have I'm a big sneakerhead. I have sneaker collaboration ideas. I have ideas that I want to collab with artists who are on a big level. Like I have a song that I've been holding in my head for like 3-4 years. It's a song I want to do with Tyler the Creator. Like,
yo, that'd be dope.
That's the level that I'm on. Like I always think about, like, it's cool to collaborate with people, my peers, and I want to do that. But I also do think about past that. I'm always thinking about the things in my life that are so far away, because I feel like if I can envision it, then it can come to fruition one day.
And it's closer.
Right. It doesn't seem so far-fetched.
Do you believe in the whole manifestation and,
of course, 100%.
The universe is...
Yeah, I don't like saying bad things. Like I don't like saying can't, won't, shouldn't, couldn't, because I feel like words have power. How could I not say words don't have power when what I aspire to be is a rapper? I'm using my words for power. So even when I'm talking, I shouldn't say negative things, because those things can manifest. And you can program your brain to believe things.
I believe that.
People believe they're things that they're not, and sometimes it's dangerous and bad. But then you can also program your brain to believe things that you are that are good.
I feel that. I can see that. I mean, I don't know, man, but I literally talked myself into the position I'm in now. I ain't shit, but I'm doing a whole bunch. Like I just did my first short film where I was acting a little bit, and then I was like, dude, like nothing's gonna stop me from doing interviews.
It's a good thing to do is to look back, right? Be like, where was I at last year? Last year, I quit my job I was at for 7 years, and it was during the pandemic. And I bet on myself. I was like, this job's not going to promote me, and I need more money, specifically for music. So I was like, I'm leaving this place. Fuck it. I didn't have a job for 6 weeks. I busted Uber for a little bit, and then I finally got a job, and then I put out that album, and things have been very different since. You know, I feel like even just a healthier human being since that point.
Mentally,
even physically, because your mental affects your physical.
Right.
You know, so I just look back, and there's days where I'm like, am I really gonna make it? Is there a chance that I'm going to be somebody one day? And then I look back and I'm like, well, you're more somebody than you were a year ago. So let's see where year 2 will take you. Simple as that.
I feel you. And this is Izzy Reynard.
Correct.
And what can people check out?
So I have I have 2 of my projects on Apple. The first one's not on Apple. It's on YouTube. It's called 2 Weeks Notice, and I called it that because that's when I quit my job. And so I was like, I quit my job. I have nothing to live for. I'm going to take music serious. 2 Weeks Notice. Especially check out the track Escape Plan. That joint's fire. Then I have Misery Loves Company, and that was like me talking about my depression and whatnot. That's 6 tracks. That one's on all streaming platforms. And then the one I just put out called Reset of Reynard, I put that out at the end of August. It's just like, I have fun with that one. There's just video game beats. There's a song on there called Super Saiyan God that's actually like 5 years old. Me and my cousins did that. And then the Dragon Ball Z movie recently came out, the new one, and I was like, oh, we've been holding this on our hard drives for 5 years, and now it seems like a good time to put it out, catch that wave, if possible. So yeah, I have those 3 projects, and now I'm working on Split Screen, and the first track will be out on October 12th, and then it'll be over in 8-week period. Yeah.
Any videos?
That's the next thing I gotta work on, because I've been talking to people about like reviewing my music, and they say we only review videos. So I'm like, I need to get on that. So that's the next step, is to start shooting music videos for my music. Also, I need to be more. People need to see my face, you know. So yeah, definitely gotta work on that.
All right. So would you pop by another 6 months, something like that?
For sure, yeah.
Life update.
Yeah, this is the reset phase for me. So I'll definitely like to come back for the rebirth, and I'll definitely have more content for people. I'm already working on my project, my next official project.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm already working on that in terms of the themes and all that, and I know like what I want to do with that one. So yeah, there's a lot of content I got coming up, and it's not even all music. So. Yeah. So
be on the lookout, right?
For sure.
Hey, yo, you gotta check this shit out, bro.
Yeah.
Someone gotta do it. It might be me. It might be him.
Yeah, one of us gotta make it out.
I mean, dude, how often, like, after you make a song, how long does it take you to actually make that? I mean, like, all right, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm really trying to say is, like, you make a song, right? Mm-hmm. And how many days after you made that song do you listen to that song and like try to like think if it's good or not, or so have that battle with yourself?
So I always record demos.
Okay.
And then I listen to the demo for probably about a week, and then I record the official version.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really like, I listen to a lot of music too, so it astounds me when I'm at a club and like other people that with me, and they're like, every song that comes on, I can rap word for word. I just love music so much. So even like, I like all genres of music, anything except for like super country shit. But I like all genres of music, so I know a lot of music. So I can sing word for word like a Justin Timberlake song or an Adele song, and I can rap word for word a Jay-Z song or a Nas song. So when I hear my demos, I kind of treat it like that.
Okay.
And then I actually get better by rapping over what I already put down.
That's a whole new method right there, man. Yeah. I like that.
So there'll be like sometimes 2-3 versions of a song before the listener hears it. And then sometimes when I produce it and I send it to my mixer, he'll send it back and be like, "Yo, you need to say it differently here."
Oh, so you got help on the outside as well.
Yeah, or he'll send it back and he'll add a sound effect And I'd be like, yo, you know, it'd be really dope if I do it like this. And so, honestly, by the time the listener hears it, there's like 5 different this is the 5th version.
I mean, but that's it has to be like super polished then by that point. All right. That's dope, man.
I know I'm a nobody now, so I have to try and impress people. And it's like, if anybody would like to sit down with me and talk with me about my music, I will talk all day. Because it's like, imagine an architect and he has a house and he walks by it and he'd be like, yo, I built that house. And there's people living in it and he's like, I built that house. And you want to know how I built it? And, you know, he tells people. That's how I try to think about my music. And it's like, I want to impress people. That's my biggest thing. I want to impress. I don't care if you like it, because art is taste. Mm-hmm. There's people who like spicy food and there's people who don't. Right. And it's weird to me because it's like, why do you think broccoli is nasty and why do you think broccoli is delicious? You can't explain it.
Well, I don't like fish.
Right? But you can't explain it. I like fish. You can't explain it. You just don't like it. I don't like it. Now, there's probably like some deep-rooted like psychological thing, but who gives a fuck about that? At the end of the day, you don't like it, I do.
It's just the texture.
Right? With music, it's the same thing. Anything. You know, there's people who don't like dramas. There's people who don't like action films. There's people who don't like certain comedies. You don't have to like my music. I don't expect everyone to like it, but I want you to be impressed and be like, that's pretty cool that you did that. Like, I can actually hear your music. Like, if I try to think, like, if you take Pandora and there's a Drake song and there's a Nas song and there's a Jay-Z song and there's a Kanye song, could my song fit in there and people who don't know any better think that was an actual real artist? They might have to like it, but they're like, oh, it sounds official. You know, it's not about, do you like my shit? It's, are you impressed? Especially coming from me, some Puerto Rican kid from Lancaster City. Are you impressed by that? That's my goal.
Okay. Last question.
Yeah.
What is your take on local artists' music versus those super polished songs that you hear on the radio and stuff like that?
So I think what it comes down to is it's funny this is the last question because it comes down to one of the first things I said in this interview is talent, right? There's a lot of talented artists in the city that I come from. From, you know, when I was in high school, middle school, there was guys who probably don't even rap no more. I can't remember their names. There's talented guys, and I've that's another thing about me. I don't have no shame in big upping people. Like I know people don't like doing that, especially in hip hop. I think that's really corny. I could be a fan and not be a dick rider. There's a difference, you know. So I love J. Cole, but there's things that I recently said on Facebook that were critical of J. Cole, and people said, "Oh, you're a hater," and it's like, no, I love Jake. I literally physically own every copy of his album, physical copies, and 2 of his vinyls. I fucking love J. Cole, but he's not above critique. My favorites, you can critique them all.
Right.
You know, Martin Scorsese doesn't. Not every film he made was a classic, but Goodfellas is. You know, like, so. There's a difference between being a fan and a dick rider. I'm a fan of some of the guys in my city. So true. He's fucking dope as hell. Laddie Moran, he's a vibe. You know, like his music is, you put it on and it's like, twist something up, smoke. It's a vibe. You know. My boy Perception, he's really eclectic. There's a lot of dope people in my city, but I don't know their situation artistically, so I can't comment on it. But I feel like the reason why maybe none of us have ever made it yet was because we're relying only on the talent. There needs to be something bigger than that. For someone to come to Lancaster, you can get away with that in New York City. You can get away with that in Los Angeles. You can get away with that in Atlanta because there's people watching. There's the binoculars on those cities. There's nobody looking for Lancaster artists. So we have to do something to wow, to someone to be like, oh shit, we got to go there. There's a talent pool that we have to go. And I don't know if anyone's been able to pull that off yet. And I do see people trying now. So it's definitely different than when I was a kid. I think everybody was just consumed with being the best rapper. But also, since it's a small city, you kind of get into that, who's the best?
That debate, man, can't even.
Right. So it's like,
Can't
who's
do
the
it.
best?
Do
And
nothing
it's
about
like,
that.
it's a small city, so everybody knows everybody.
Mhm.
So you could pull up on the person who's calling themselves the best. No, I ain't saying on some beef shit,
Mhm.
but you could be at House of Pizza and be like, that's the guy who thinks he's the best. I'm the best.
We're back for a third time. It's your boy Best for Sex, Izzy, Reynard,
Mm-hmm.
and it's that part, man. Yeah, my bad. Eventually, you're gonna see next time. We're gonna see my assistant. He's gonna be manning the cameras, and stuff like that won't happen. But yeah, it's your boy Best for Sex. We got Izzy Reynard, and go check out his new project on October 13th, 12th.
Yeah. Split screen.
Split screen,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Check out all Best Work Sex interviews. They're dope.
They all got their own flavor.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. It's different.
Yeah. So you perform?
Yeah, I actually put together my own performance right before I dropped my album, Misery Loves Company. It wasn't a concert, it was more a showcase. Again, I like to do things that have never been done before. So I knew that this album was inspired by a novel that was adapted into a movie that inspired my album. So I thought I should make this cinematic. So what I did was I got 4 artists. A kid named Mijo, he's a singer. This like alt rock / hip hop. If y'all know Lil Peep, he's kind of like in that lane. His name is Dead Inside. My boy Craigie, and then I flew my boy Perception all the way out from LA to perform because he's kind of like my sensei, I would say. So I felt like I needed him there. I needed, it was like Bruce Lee needed Ip Man. So what I did was, it was at a gallery, and we had all the lights turned out, and then we got like colored lights similar to like what you got around here, and it was like really dark, and then we had a projector in the back, and there was like visuals, and we started the show with the young boy Mijo. He was singing, and the show never stopped. There was no sets. So when he was done, the person went up right after him and performed, and he plays guitar, and he was soloing right into the next guy's set, so there was no break. And then when he was done, his set, we mixed it so all the tracks were on one, so it sounded like one long song.
Oh, that's dope.
So there was no pauses in the concert. I've been trying to get out more, I feel like before I was like, why can't I rap about stuff? It's because I'm not experiencing life. You have to experience life in order to give content. So I've been getting out more, going to concerts. The pandemic really made me I was taking life for granted. I wasn't doing shit. Now I can't do shit, and I'm mad about it. So started going to concerts. I went and saw Snow Allegra in New York, saw Lil Durk in Pittsburgh, and I was thinking, I was like, every concert I go to is the same format: opening artist, second opening artist, main act. I just saw Chris Rock live, same thing: opening comedian, second comedian, Chris Rock. That was the same format for every single artist I've ever seen, and I was like, I've never seen one where it never stops. So I made a show where it didn't stop. It was like an hour and a half, so it wasn't too long. So it started with the one kid, and then it ended. And then this is it. Again, I like being dramatic. So like my show ended, and when my set ended, I put the mic down and I walked away, and the beat was still playing in the back, and like the last part of my verse. So I walked out, and I sprinted around the building, and I ran all the way to the front of the building where the bathroom was, and I had a bag in there with different clothes. So I changed my outfit real quick, and then to get back to the stage there was like a little room right there. So then they were like, all right guys, thanks for coming out, and then they put the beat back on, and I came out in a different outfit, and I played high energy songs because the show was called An Evening with Misery, so all the songs were like low key. There was
okay.
like sad songs and depressing songs, and they were dark and very depressing and shit. And so it was the lights, and then they cut the lights on, and then I played some bangers. So like, I felt like I didn't want people to leave there, but like, man, that was good, but fuck, I guess I'm going home now. Like, my life sucks, you know. Like, I wanted to like lift the energy up and make it celebratory, and then at the end, I handed out roses to people who really mean shit to me, and you know, like, I took the term give people their flowers. I took it literally. I gave it like to everybody who performed, anybody who was part of the album, one to my mom, because I dedicated the album to my mom because I feel like she instilled in me my creativity. So and then I performed at Tribe Tuesday once, and that was impromptu because I went.
That's when I met you.
Yes, that is where I met you. It was in some Indian restaurant basement.
Yeah.
So I went and to support Mark. So true, because I really fuck with him, and like I said, I'm a fan, and you know, I wanted to see. If I like people, I want to see them perform live.
Right.
So, you know, I went out to support. And also, I just, you know, I like putting money in people's pockets. You know, I like when people give me money for what I do. So, you know, I'm going to go out, pay my ticket, you know. And so there was like, the boy, Joe, came up to me and was like, Coach Joe, he was like, yo, you rap, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, you want to perform? And I was like, no, I'm good. I don't really. He was like, no, you going to perform. So he got my email. He said, send me some tracks. So they put me up there, and I did a performance real quick.
Yeah,
that was cool because, you know, I appreciate Joe for that because he kind of made me do it, and I wasn't gonna do it, but he made me do it, and I was like, I appreciate you for that.
Is that something that probably is gonna get you out a little bit more?
Yeah, it's like, you know, like when I put that show together, I wasn't nervous because I knew all the people I invited.
Right.
You know, everybody who came to the show I knew. And we sold out, which was pretty dope. Like, we had a limit we can go because of like fire code, and so we ended up selling out. And I had food, there was merch. It was like a mini festival, you know, like Astro World without the murders.
And this is where we gotta close it, man. You gonna have to tune in for part 2.
But yeah, performing in front of people you don't know is nerve wracking a little bit, and especially when it's impromptu. So I appreciate Joe for that.
But that's real cool, man.
Yeah.
But we are going to finally actually get out of here.
Yeah.
Sorry for the little skip up, miss up, whatever.
You're good.
It's your boy Best Worst X. And if you didn't hear it again, Izzy Reynard.
Mm-hmm.
So go check him out, man.
It's IZZYREYNARD. I know Reynard is probably like, people like, I don't know how to spell that. Yeah. And if you type that in Google, all my stuff will come up. I'm one of one. That's another thing when I pick my rap
I Googled
names.
you, and that's exactly what happened. I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, when I pick my rap names, I Googled them. I was like, I want to be the only thing that comes up.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. That was dope. That's dope. I mean, hey, man. I want to see where you go from here. I mean, yeah, I'm hyped. I'm hyped to see where you go. It seems like you're onto something, man.
Yeah,
and
for sure. Hopefully, God willing.
Yes, sir. But it's your boy, Best Words X for the 9th time, and Izzy Reynard. We out. We out. We're out for real this time.
Peace.
Yeah,
you know, like, yeah. Like, it's like a bunch of like Kanye personalities. Like, nobody's swinging on nobody. It's just people like, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. And it's like, I've even been a victim of that sometimes because, you know, you kind of see people saying it and then nobody's talking about you. You're like, well, you know, well, I'm the best now. And it's like, it's a lot of crown sharing, but nobody's sitting on the throne.
Something that I get really often is, hey, yo, I'm gonna be your biggest interview, bro. None of these other artists in Lancaster are just as dope as me. I watch all the people you interviewed. They ain't nothing. Blah 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 blah. It's like, bro, you know the dude last week said the same shit you just said.
Yeah.
Like, bro, if everybody didn't actually think like that and they actually thought, yo, he's dope, I'm dope, we dope.
Yeah.